About 40% of all U.S. adults cannot afford to pay off their credit card bills every month, meaning they are always carrying a balance. That includes more than 27 million people who can only afford minimum payments each month. And a growing share of families are now maxing out their cards and then opening new accounts or turning to options like payday loans or buy now, pay later to try to stay afloat.
That's ABC's Elizabeth Schulze reporting. Time for news about your money. The WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green currently. The Dow up about 0.5% at 47,170. The NASDAQ is up 148 points at 22,520. And the S&P 500 is up about 40, sitting at 6,738. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:04.
Hi, this is Michelle Voskel, CPA and team member at the Neal Group. If 2025 didn't go exactly as planned, you're not alone. You made it through, and that's what counts. Now it's time for taxes, and for a lot of people, that's when the stress kicks in, especially if things got messy along the way. The good news? A rough year doesn't mean a ruined future. We helped Nate fix a tax mess with the IRS created by one of those national firms and saved him $103,000 in penalties, plus another $150,000 in taxes, because we know the tax law. Imagine walking into tax season with a plan, clarity, and someone in your corner who knows the tax law and knows how to use it. You earned it. We help you keep it. Call us now at 414-325-2040. to arrange a meeting to see how we can help you. Don't wait, call now. That's 414-325-2040 or visit nealgroup.net.
Ready to shake up your cocktail game? March 20th, St. Kate, the Arts Hotel, hosts a hands-on cocktail workshop in the dark room from 7 till 9. Learn more about Cocktails 101 in a spotlight interview with St. Kate, the Arts Hotel bar manager, Chris Schiefelbein, on Wednesday at 6:15 on What's on Tap with Sandy Max. Spots are limited. Reserve yours now and go to stkatearts.com for more information.
Do you hear that? That means that baseball is almost here. We're counting down to opening day as the Brewers open the season against the White Sox on Thursday, March 26th. This opening day series is sponsored by Matrix Basement Finishing. Mention opening day and save an additional 10%. Visit matrixbasements.com. Catch Brewers baseball on WTMJ all season long. We are the flagship station for Brewers baseball. WTMJ.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Team USA will be taking on Venezuela tonight in the finals of the World Baseball Classic. U.S. looking for its second WBC title. That's a 7 o'clock first pitch tonight. That is at Lone Depot Park in Miami. Spring training baseball, Brewers scoring 24 runs. They beat the Dodgers yesterday 24-9. Crew have just 8 games left before opening day, which is next week. Milwaukee Bucks back on their home floor tonight, taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Coverage of that one starting at 6:30 here on WTMJ. Men's college hoops NCAA tournament starting tonight on the men's side. 2 games in the first 4 in Dayton, Ohio. That will feature 16 seeds Howard and UMBC, and then 11 seeds Texas and NC State playing this evening. Wisconsin will play High Point. First round game is on Thursday. Badger Sports Update sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding and a whole lot more. Let's take a look at the roads. Your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. Some typical slowdowns, 94 east and westbound right near the stadium there in our construction zone. Nothing out of the ordinary. You have some other disabled vehicles kind of scattered across the system, but none of them in traffic causing any issues. So a smooth ride here currently. As for your forecast, should see plenty of sunshine. We'll see some increasing clouds. It is going to be chilly today, not a whole lot warmer, a high of just 22 degrees. Could maybe see a couple of snow showers tonight, maybe less than an inch of accumulation, a low down to 18. Mostly cloudy Wednesday, a high near 38. And then we'll see a chance of maybe a rain-snow mix early Thursday, a little warmer, high of 43. Mostly cloudy Friday, highs in the upper 40s. Right now, it is 13 degrees in Green Bay, sitting at 14 degrees in Waukesha, and it's currently 15 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 10:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristen Bride.
And good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. Ain't no snow getting in her way this morning. Kristen Bride joins me alongside.
I'm back.
I love using the word ain't, even though I'm not supposed to, as a professional broadcaster, because it just has value to me. It says
character?
Yeah, it says something beyond what I should say.
Spices it up.
Yeah, it's a little spice.
Yeah, I'm back. It
Yeah.
feels like a long time since I was
Were you
home.
on Friday, too?
Well, I was home with a sick kid on Friday.
Yeah.
Then I was home with a dysfunctional car, as the internet liked to remind me yesterday, because I posted a video of being stuck. Because the thing was, it wasn't even that it was that much snow. It's that it rained most of Sunday,
There was
and then
ice
the
in there.
temperature
It's just
dropped,
nasty.
and it was ice. And they still have not plowed our street. And so yeah.
City
but-
of Milwaukee, by the way.
Yeah. And so the internet, strangers on the internet didn't understand why I drive a forward wheel drive car in the snow belt.
I mean, strangers were giving you grief?
Oh yeah. On
Really?
the internet? Shocking, right?
Why?
I don't know. They just thought that my choice of car in this climate was a poor choice. And then
Yeah.
also people were like, they told you to stay home. Why are you trying to drive? And it's like, well, I have a radio show that I can't do from home.
Critical job, life critical job.
Life critical job, people. Get it
Thankfully,
together.
I've got a four-wheel drive Jeep. I had no problem. But I could tell you.
And thankfully, you know how to do this on your own.
I can. It was like old school. I mean, I did a little bit Friday. We obviously had Bill and Joe, which was a fun show to do. They were on their game Friday, as they often are. So it's good to have you back. We can't ignore the elephant in the room. It's St. Patrick's Day.
And yet, looking at you and I, no, you wouldn't know it, because neither of us wore green compared to Vince and Eric, who were very decked out today.
There are two colors that I try to stay away from: red and green. They don't look good on me. I look weirdly pale and awkward, and it doesn't fit my form. I stay away from those colors.
I'm impressed that
Except
you
on
know
Christmas.
what color you look good in.
And I'm not like a clothes, you know what. So I'm pretty much, that's just self-awareness that I've seen myself. Like, it's like, ooh, that's a bad picture. I can't look at it.
Okay.
So green's not my thing. Now, here's the funny thing. I thought Bri was somewhat Irish, but apparently not.
I don't think so. There's like I have not done Ancestry.com or 23andMe, but there's like a little UK from my mom when she did it, but I don't know which country specifically, but predominantly Dutch and German.
Yeah, because my mom's Scottish. I have a chunk as well from Irish heritage, so I probably am closer to that than you are. But again, I will probably have a Guinness somewhere today because I'm a bachelor today, not technically or not.
Where's Kathy?
She's at Grandparents' Day down at in Illinois, which is a big thing for her and especially my granddaughter Charlie was so excited about the fact that my wife Kathy was going down.
That's awesome.
It's a whole thing. Then they're going shopping and all this other stuff. So it's a big deal. So I'm by myself. So I'm going to chase down a corned beef somewhere
In Milwaukee, or are you going back to Oak Creek?
in the Oak Creek area probably. Because I'm not a drink and drive guy. So I'll have one Guinness and a corned beef, and then I'll take my butt home.
You know, the Guinness is shockingly low calories.
That's why I
You
discovered
wouldn't think
it.
so.
Yeah,
Low ABV and low calories.
And also
it's kind of like a
delicious.
light beer.
And delicious.
And delicious.
Where will you be celebrating St. Patrick's Day?
I don't know if I will be today.
Because you've sort of sworn off alcohol.
I just feel behind. Like yesterday, we had a snow day. It's like a weird way to start the week. We got a lot going on. I'm not sure. I think we might have, between Shamrock Shuffle a week and a half ago, the St. Patrick's Day parade downtown this last Saturday, I think I got my celebration in for 2026.
Now, I love Pam on the text line because she's thinking about what I said. This is why I love our listeners to our show. And thanks for making us the most downloaded show on WTMJ. We love that. Thousands and thousands of you. The numbers are astounding. We blow everybody else out of the water. Not that I don't like the other shows, but we just do. So, great. This is a really on-point question. Okay, not a fan of green. What do you wear to Packers games? There's so many other options with Packers. I don't wear jerseys. So I'm not white or green. I have like tan things that have the little logo on. I got black ones that have the logo on. You can avoid green completely because it's not a good look on me.
You know, there's lots of shades of green. I refuse to believe that every shade of green looks bad on you.
I don't know.
Like a dark forest green compared to like a lime green are very different color
You know what
palettes.
else it is? This is probably more information than anybody. It's the graying of the hair. That's not a good look. And, you know, it's like my my sister-in-law Patty always says, "Why don't you dye your hair?" I go, "How would that look?" Like,
It's too late. You can't do it now.
Yeah, I had very dark hair.
You can't do it now. You either have to like commit to it as soon as you start graying. But to do it now is just like, what are you doing, man? We all know that you have gray hair.
Kind of weird, kind of creepy. Stop doing that, right? So I've just accepted it. Hair loss, gray hair, that's my thing. I'm good with it.
You don't really have hair loss.
Oh, trust me, up on top. It's the Roman hairline. All right, so
it's 10:35.
Yes.
So if people who get our newsletter already know this because they saw it on Sunday, but we stole a question for
Michael Smerconish,
because I really liked the question, but we added some questions in there. But the question is, which TDS is more irrational, Trump derangement syndrome or Trump devotion syndrome? So if you would like to take this survey, we have 2 more questions after that. Where do you think the country is going after Trump, and where would you like it to go after Trump? If you would like to fill that out, we're going to talk about the survey results at 10:35. So text TDS to 855-616-1620. That's TDS, no periods, no spaces. We'll send you the link for the survey. We're going to talk about it at 10:35. But before that, over the weekend, there was another threat of pulling broadcasting licenses if you covered the Iran war in a way that the administration did not like. So speaking of Trump derangement syndrome, I'm sure someone will accuse us of that after this.
You've seen the photos, but nothing compares to being there. In 2026, trade your screen for the real thing, the quiet ripple of the Rhine from an Avalon Waterways suite, or the storied streets of Italy with Globus. At Fox World Travel, we handle every detail so you can focus on the moment, not the logistics. Stop dreaming about the world and start walking through it. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to plan your 2026 journey today.
Day after day, year after year, the heavy lifting, the repetitive motion, and now your body feels it. Your back, your knees, your quality of life.
At Access Legal, we stand up for people worn down by work.
Workers' comp is our sole focus, and our team has recovered more than $35 million for Wisconsin workers. From sudden accidents to pain that builds over years of hard work, we're dedicated to fighting for the benefits you're entitled to. If you've been worn down by work, contact Access Legal for a risk-free consultation.
Search AXIS Legal today.
Experience an auto show like never before. The Milwaukee Auto Show hits the road with new dates and a new easy access, easy to park location. Clear your calendar. May 14th through 17th at the Wisconsin State Fair Park and Expo Center. Whether shopping or just dreaming, you'll see sleek luxury cars to rugged trucks and everyday favorites. Hundreds of new vehicles. May 14th through 17th at the Wisconsin State Fair Park and Expo Center. AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Scaffidi. Have you listened to WTMJ Outdoors yet? Well, what are you waiting for? Every Saturday at 2 right here on 620 WTMJ. Stories of the outdoors of Wisconsin and beyond as we celebrate everything in recreation. This week, Eric Brown, Outdoor Living Unlimited, our great sponsor here in WTMJ Outdoor, joins us. Lang Lake County, we're talking about activities in the winter and spring up there, and we wrap it up with a conversation about all that fish you caught this winter.
It's WTMJ Outdoors, presented by Outdoor Living Unlimited.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's Kristen and Steve back in our regular seats. Remember, last time you were here, you had to sit in the other seats? So there's been a lot of discombobulation, not to steal that line from Dan Schaefer, but so it's sort of back to normal.
A little bit.
You know what's not back to normal? The relationship between the media and the President of the United States. It's not normal at all. It's nuts. And I'll lead off with this, and I know you want to take it in the way you want to take it. What is wrong with the media where they're just going to bend over?
Well, who do you think's bending over?
CBS, certainly.
Well, that's a different story entirely. That's also because the Ellison family now owns so many different media outlets and is aligned with Trump. But that is one of many.
Okay.
Did you see the Jimmy Kimmel CBS joke of the Oscars?
Yeah, I did. Any reporter who lets the president abuse them, whether it's on Air Force One or in the Oval Office, without pushing back, you're bending over. I'm sorry. Mr. President, please answer my question. It should be the next response. But that does not happen. Don't take it. Why would you take it? That's silly.
Well, ideally, what I think would be great, and I know I've heard some reporters talk about this, is the camaraderie between the reporters, even though they're technically competitors with one another, is if he refuses to answer one journalist's question, the next journalist keeps asking that question.
Exactly. But we're not getting that. And look, we get snippets. I understand. We're not seeing the entire Oval Office or Air Force One exchange between the president and the media. I understand that. But I'm getting that what we are seeing and hearing and reading is that we are getting a representative sample of what happens. And if the president, I mean, he's telling yesterday on Air Force One, don't give me that look. It's like, what are you talking about? Answer the question. You're there to provide answers to the American public, American people. And all this other stuff that you enjoy is wasting our time. And to all the talking heads who say, that's just what he is, I don't care if you think that.
Well, here's the trade, not the trade-off, because obviously there's other options besides these two options. But I will say, who was it that, which ABC reporter was recently talking about how incredible it is, the fact that he can just call Trump and he answers the phone?
Is that Jonathan Karl?
I think so.
Yeah.
And the access, because Trump loves the media, even though he spars with the media, is obviously a 180 from Biden, who was basically hid for 4 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Which is also bad.
Which was also really bad. And so there's, on the one hand, you have incredible access and him at least taking questions, even if he's not always answering them. And sometimes, like I said, is bickering back and forth with the questions that are asked versus not meeting with the press at all. And so I know that there's an in-between and a better blend between those two things, but at least giving credit for the fact that he does talk to the press, even when he doesn't like the questions.
But the dangerous part is that now this administration, this president, is threatening broadcasters with their license through the mouthpiece of his chair, Brendan Carr.
Yes. So over the weekend, if you missed this, FCC chair Brendan Carr threatened to threaten broadcasters over their coverage of the U.S. war in Iran. And obviously, we should be concerned about that. So he posted, basically, this was the quote. All right, quote, broadcasters that are running hoaxes and news distortions, also known as fake news, have a chance now to correct course before their license renewals come up. This is on social media that he posted this. And so he finished with, the law is clear. Broadcasters must operate in the public interest, and they will lose their licenses if they do not. Now, he has used this idea of the public interest before. He frequently cites this as he warns media outlets about their coverage. And so this only extends to network news. So it'd be ABC, CBS, Fox, and NBC, because it doesn't apply to the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal. Right. It's only on what is public broadcast. Broadcast networks. Yep. So it's not cable either. And so what's interesting about this, though, is that he drew backlash from more than just Democrats.
Oh, yeah.
Our own Ron Johnson.
Very conservative, I understand.
Our own Ron Johnson said on Fox News, the Sunday briefing, quote, I am a big supporter of the First Amendment. I do not like the heavy-handed government, no matter who is wielding it. I would rather the federal government stay out of the private sector as much as possible.
Kudos to Ron Johnson for saying what needs to be said. Okay, so all those folks who say I never have Ron Johnson's words on the show, and he's been invited to be on the show many, many times. He can take us up if he wants to. Love to have him on. This is exactly what the right response should be. If you're a talking head, or if you're or someone who's working in this wide media world that we all work in and live in and have to listen to, there's no way on God's green earth that we should allow a president, administration, a party to dictate what broadcast networks say on their airwaves. That's not reality. It's protected by our Constitution.
But then what's ironic about this, at least to me, is on the flip side of this, you have the White House using social media in a way that I find absolutely
hideous,
disgusting, in making this war seem like a video game.
Yeah.
And trivializing literally lives being lost by cutting footage of missiles dropping with Call of Duty scenes.
Yeah, you had some of it in our show notes. Grand Theft Auto,
Nintendo Wii Sports. And so they're also cutting it with movie scenes. So like Top Gun Maverick, Braveheart, Better Call Saul,
which
Halo.
often they don't have the permission to use, by the way.
And so it's in this memification of a war. It's just a reminder that there is like a 23-year-old bro sitting somewhere running the White House social media accounts, like thinking he's dunking on libs with his posts. And it's like, this is what I feel like should actually be censored.
It's
not really, but it is horrifying to me.
Yeah, their use of official White House accounts, social media accounts, that should be against the law. That's use of a public dollars, because we pay for that. Taxpayers pay for that. To use that for overtly political means is absolutely against the law. You cannot use public funds to promote a political party or your agenda. And that's what's happening every day. It should not happen. It doesn't mean you can't talk about the work you do, but the spin they're putting on it, the things you just talked about, using all of these popular movies and video games to sort of push this idea that this is an administration that's really doing the tough job, is absolute BS.
But also to minimize how serious war is. I mean, have we yet to even apologize or take any accountability for bombing a school and killing 180 children?
According to the president, we don't know what caused that. According to a president who, in his own 5-minute presser yesterday, at least the part that I saw, contradicted himself a couple times, saying both sides of the same argument when it comes to the war. He is clearly not on the same page as some of the people who actually understand engagements in the Middle East. He doesn't understand these things. And again, it's a word I love to use when I talk about this administration: superficial. They have an idea, but that's all there is. There's no infrastructure behind the idea. There's no way out. There's no end game. And there's no serious, considerate thought process onto why we're doing something. And if you blew up a school and killed 162 people, is that the number?
I think it's so close to 180.
Yeah. That's inexcusable. And according to what I've read about that, they were using old information. Again, shows not being ready for prime time when it comes to the people who work in this administration. Whether you call it Trump bashing or not, there's a certain expectation we should all have on how our government and how our president should function. We're not getting that. We'll continue the conversation after this on 620 WTMJ.
Personal injury lawyers seem like they're a dime a dozen, but Frank Pasternak and I are not about T-shirts or cartoons. At Pasternak and Zergabel, we focus on serious cases and real results for injured Wisconsinites. We are two of Wisconsin's best injury lawyers. I'm Jeff Zergabel of Pasternak and Zergabel. Our clients trust Pasternak and Zergabel because we show up, we listen, and we fight for you. If you need help, go to Pasternak and Zergabel at injurywisconsin.com. That's injurywisconsin.com.
Hey, it's WTMJ Steve Kennedy for QC Kinetics. Raise your hand if you're excited about feeling older. Of course not. No one wants to feel that. I didn't think so. But you know what? Pain, inflammation, just hurting makes you feel older than you probably are. And here's the good news. QC Kinetics patients, and I'm one of them, 5 treatments last summer, fixed my elbow. You can see on YouTube, working great. Doesn't hurt to turn the doorknob anymore. Lots of Milwaukeeans getting the relief, feeling younger, jumping back into life full speed because they went to Dr. Ashley Caravelli and a great team at QC Kinetics right here in Milwaukee. Medical professionals using the latest regenerative treatments backed by real science. So you don't have to have surgery. You don't have to use the meds. Treatments that take tiny, powerful healing tools inside your own body, concentrate them right where you need relief. So training for a marathon? How about that? Just want to play with your grandkids, walking around Disney World or Disneyland, maybe get back to a more physically demanding job, climbing a ladder, doing some construction work, all real stories from real QC Kinetics patients. Sooner you start the treatment, sooner the inflammation goes away and that joint damage slows down. Here's what you got to do. 414-667-5559. That's the magic number. Free consultation. 414-667-5559. QC Kinetics.
3 generations ago, it was about doing one thing and doing it right.
Hardwood, tile, carpet, floors that had to last because our name, Adair, was on them. Over time, homeowners asked us to do more. Kitchens, bathrooms, full remodels. And so our name changed to Adair Floors and Remodeling.
But flooring has always been the foundation, literally.
And it's something the next generation already understands.
Hi, I'm Ava. Hi, I'm Quinn. My dad does floors.
From hardwood and luxury vinyl plank to tile and carpet, we handle selection, layout, and professional installation.
And because we also remodel homes, we know how flooring works with everything else. Transitions, finishes, and long-term durability.
When you hire Adair, you're getting experience you can stand on and people who will be here for decades to come.
Call my dad. Bye-bye.
Adair Floors and Remodeling. Built on flooring, trusted for remodels. 3 generations, 1 standard. Call us at 414-761-3660 for your free flooring estimate.
Spice up your workday at the original Botanas on 5th Street. Enjoy flavorful and affordable Mexican lunch specials, always made fresh and served fast with a free cup of soup. Authentic taste, local favorite. Mi casa es su casa at Botanas.
You can't beat Bernhardt.
Sports lovers love us.
All right, so I think this is breaking news. Someone texted this in. A Trump-appointed intelligence officer resigned over the Iran war. So a senior U.S. intelligence official appointed by President Trump abruptly announced he is stepping down from his post this morning, citing misgivings about the administration's war with Iran. This is Joe Kent. Quote, this is from CNN. Quote, I cannot in good conscience support the ongoing war in Iran. Iran posed no imminent threat to our nation, and it's clear that we started this war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby.
Breaking news right here on Point Taken. All right, real quick, the text for entering into our little survey.
For our survey. So when we come back, we're going to talk about what's worse and also what comes next. What's worse? Trump derangement syndrome? Or no, what's more irrational? Trump derangement syndrome or Trump devotion syndrome? Text TDS, no spaces, no periods, to 855-616-1620 to take the survey. There's also questions about where you think we'll go next after Trump and where you want us to go after Trump. And so we're going to talk about all of that after the bottom of the hour news.
And we're freely admitting we stole that from Michael Smerconish,
Yes.
who does a Sirius Satellite radio show and also a great show on CNN every Saturday morning at 8, which I'm a big fan of. And many of the things I've done on radio are based on some of the things that he started doing on radio. All right, we got local news with Neil Doyle coming up. Before we get to that, the latest now from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The head of the National Counterterrorism Center, Joe Kent, is stepping down, saying President Trump has been deceived by Israeli officials and those he says are influential members of the media. He also says there was no imminent threat to the United States ahead of the strikes on Iran. Here's ABC's Louis Martinez.
This is a senior U.S. counterterrorism official, a top intelligence official in the administration, and he has been a very strong supporter of President Trump for quite some time. He's former Green Beret, former CIA. His wife actually was killed in a terror attack in Manbij, Syria, 8 years ago. And so he heads the organization that would determine whether there is a terrorist threat to the United States.
Gallup asking Americans if they're satisfied or dissatisfied with the position of the U.S. on the world stage. 80% of Republicans say yes. 7% of Democrats agree. A new analysis finds a record 111 million Americans cannot afford to pay their credit card bills every month. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1031. I'm Neil Doyle. The blizzard conditions across Wisconsin to start the week, breaking several records. The National Weather Service says Wausau broke 2 records, its highest one-day snowfall at over 23 inches, which was well above the city's previous record, which was 16 inches back in 2019. Wausau also broke its 3-day winter storm record, over 30 inches of snow. That was from Saturday evening through Monday morning. Green Bay also setting a daily record on March 15th. They had over 17 inches of snow. That broke the previous record, which was just 6 inches. A busy day in Madison for lawmakers in the state Senate. Over 100 bills are on the schedule for the floor session today. It's expected to be the Senate's final session of the year. One piece of legislation would legalize online sports betting. That bill received bipartisan support in the state assembly last month, but seems like there could be some pushback from a few Republican lawmakers during that vote today. The session is scheduled to start at about 11 o'clock. If it is approved, that bill, it would then head to the governor's desk. Another bill that would ban the use of data center non-disclosure agreements is also making its way through the state legislature. It would prohibit companies and local governments from using NDAs or other secrecy deals to conceal information about data center projects from the public or from local officials. It would also prevent local governments from approving a data center if those requirements are then violated. The state Senate expected to take up that measure today as well. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green. The Dow is up 190 points at 47,137. The NASDAQ is up about 89, sitting at 22,460. And the S&P 500 is up 28 points at 6,724. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We do have a flurry of disabled vehicles kind of across the system. None of them are in traffic, though, not really causing any backups or delays, so that's a good thing. We are seeing a couple of slowdowns. 41, this is 41 northbound, kind of starting at North Avenue. This is North Avenue until you get past Burleigh. Not seeing any crashes there, but just kind of tapping the brakes through that part of the system. Otherwise, everything else looking good. Your forecasts will see sunshine continue and then some increasing clouds late in the afternoon. Going to be a cold one, only a high around 22 degrees. We will see the chance for maybe some snow showers tonight, maybe less than an inch of accumulation if some of that snow does stick, a low down to 18. On Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy, a high near 38. Could see a bit of a rain-snow mix early Thursday, otherwise partly sunny, a high of 43. And then Friday will be mostly cloudy, a bit warmer, highs in the upper 40s. Right now, it's 15 degrees in Madison, sitting at 16 in Kenosha, and it's 15 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 1034.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristen Bry, and I want to tell you about the dentist I recommend, my dentist, Dr. James Michaels at Conmawalk Dental Care. If you've been putting off a cleaning, dealing with tooth sensitivity, or you're ready to finally fix what's been bothering you, this is a great place to start. Dr. Michaels and his team are welcoming, thorough, and focused on your comfort. They explain your options clearly and help you feel at ease in the chair. From regular checkups to crowns, cosmetic improvements, implants, and Invisalign, they can handle it all. And if something happens unexpectedly, they offer emergency dentistry too. I make the drive from Milwaukee to Oconomowoc just to see Dr. Michaels and his fantastic staff. They're that good. So call 262-567-7224 to request an appointment today or just visit drmichaelsdentalcare.com. That's 262-567-7224 or drmichaelsdentalcare.com.
Potential is like God's love. It lives within everyone and shows us that we are made for more. At Og Prep, faith ignites excellence in academics, the arts, athletics, and every aspect of our lives. Students don't just realize their full potential, we learn to soar. The #1 K-12 school in Milwaukee is expanding to the North Shore and is now enrolling grades K4 through 6th and 9th. Og Prep North, made for more. Apply today at ogprep.org.
The Deer are back to defend home court. And the challengers from Cleveland come calling.
Gary Trent off to Giannis. Giannis goes driving down the lane and hammers it home with a right-hand jam between three defenders.
The Bucks take on the Cleveland Cavaliers at Fiserv Forum.
Seek and destroy.
Our Bucks Radio Network game day coverage starts tonight at 6:30 on the home of the Bucks, WTMJ.
All right, it's that time of year. Point Taken is giving you a chance. We'll tell you a couple times during the show today, but love the response yesterday. I'm sure I'm going to love it today. You can win a 4-pack of really, really nice Brewers tickets to the Blue Jays game on Tuesday, April 14th, right behind home plate, section 117, if that means anything to you. All you have to do is subscribe to our newsletter. It's a great newsletter. Comes out every Sunday morning. Quick read, fun read. I'm going to do some different things this weekend. I was just talking to Kristen about it before the show. All you have to do is text the word EXTRA, E-X-T-R-A, to 855-616-1620, the Exciting and Limited WTMJ Talking Text line. We'll send you a link, sign up, 4 questions, name, zip code, email, boom, done. Do it! What are you waiting for?
Boom, done.
Yes.
All right, so speaking of our newsletter,
yes,
we include a survey every week.
We do. Usually written by Kristen.
We
tag team.
We brainstorm it. And sometimes we do something fun. Usually it's tied to whatever the biggest story of the week was. And we stole this one from Michael Smerconish because he does a daily poll.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw this and I was like, I think this is an interesting question, but I also think I know on the either or where most of our listeners are going to fall. Granted, watching the text line, we definitely have conservatives, we definitely have Trump supporters. Like, we do have a
Moderates.
wide range of people who listen.
Which is why we're
I
popular.
think anyone who listens knows where for Steve and I, most of the time we are fairly critical of this administration.
Because I'm not a fan of nonsense.
But you're still a fan of the Republican Party.
Yes, I am.
In certain Republicans. But so I kind of assumed that I knew where the first question was going to be. So the question was, what's more irrational? Trump derangement syndrome, which is the colloquial
it's response when you ever say
to people who talk about Trump. But the thing is, like, my qualm with this always is it was one thing to have, quote, TDS when Trump was not president. Now he's the president.
Mm-hmm.
And so whomever is the president is fair game to discuss, not even fair game. It is our job to discuss what the president and the administration is doing, especially when they're doing high profile, unprecedented thing after high profile, unprecedented thing. Anyways, so which is more irrational, Trump derangement syndrome or Trump devotion syndrome?
How would you describe devotion syndrome?
I think the people who are devoted to Trump and this administration, no matter what they do.
Defend at all costs.
Defend at all costs, no matter what
is said.
High-profile, unprecedented action is taken. There is a trust and belief that Trump is the best thing for our country and is leading us in the right direction.
Yeah.
And I think there's something to be said that there is a lack of critical thinking on both ends of that spectrum.
Sure.
Because there's certainly people who I try to, as I receive my news, understand that there's certain podcasts, there's certain media personalities who everything comes back to Trump. And I think you and I try to diversify our topics, right? 2 hours every day goes by very quickly. And there are certain days where there's something we could talk about that has to do with the administration, and we choose not to because we'll just figure we'll get to it with Joe and Bill on Fridays or whatever. But like, we could be doing this every single day, and sometimes we choose to talk about other things simply for the fact that it is exhausting to always talk about one person. All right. So as of right now, the percentage of people who say that Trump devotion syndrome is more irrational than Trump derangement syndrome is 84%.
Yeah, which is higher than Smerconish's number. I think he ended up.
What was his?
65% said that the derangement was more irrational than devotion. Right?
Okay.
Am I saying that right? Yeah.
But still,
yes.
Derangement was no. That devotion was. Wait, which one was it? Was it devotion or derangement was more irrational?
Derangement was irrational. That's his survey, and ours is echoing that plus another 20%. This is not surprising to me. Even the most strident, ardent, whatever term you want to use, supporters of Donald Trump always admit to me, one-on-one or in the email or text, yeah, I don't like a lot of the things he says, some of the things he does, but he's better than, basically whataboutism, what about Kamala Harris or Joe Biden, whatever. That's their argument. But I would argue that once the election's over, I need a little something more from a president. You said at the beginning, he's the president of the United States. You can't say two things that are on the opposite spectrums of the truth in the same press conference and then be not held to a higher standard. You can't criticize just horribly, including yesterday, by the way. Did you see that exchange?
Which one?
Speaker Mike Johnson sitting next to him, and I believe it's a congressman from Florida, Dunn is the last name, who he outed for a terminal illness in a press conference, and then, at least it seemed like to me, laughed about it. Like it was like nothing. That's the conduct of a president of the United States? Are you kidding me? And I'm saying that as a Republican. It's embarrassing to me. So these numbers, this is a live survey, by the way. So if you, first of all, you can get it, all of our surveys, if you text the word extra to 855-616-1620. But if you text TDS, you can vote on it right now. It's not even close because people, I've said this over and over again on social media lately, people are getting sick and tired of the celebration of nonsense. Give me something real. Give me real policy, not hate-filled screeds that go after target people that don't deserve that scorn or that hate. And that's what people like me, who still identify as Republican, who want to vote for Republicans with solid policy ideas, who believe in the things that Republicans used to stand for until this version came along, want to see a president advocate for. And that's not what we're getting. So these numbers, startling as they may be to some people, current number 84%, that Trump devotion syndrome is certainly less irrational than the other.
No, it's more irrational.
It's more irrational. I don't get that, but whatever.
What I think is actually more interesting, and there's a wider range of results in the second question we asked, was what direction do you think the country will go after Trump is gone? And so when we come
also
back,
fascinating.
Yeah, when we come back, there's a wider range of thoughts on where we're going after Trump. So if you have thoughts about that, stay with us because we're going to talk about what that and also where you want the country to go after 2028. So stay with us on Point Taken after this.
AccuNet Mortgage is an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 255368.
This is Chief Homebuyer Helper Brian Wickert. One of our senior loan consultants recently helped their first-time homebuyer client win over 13 other offers. Of course, it was a team effort with their buyer's agent, and it centered around helping our clients understand what little difference there was to their monthly payment to offer over the asking price. And again, what little difference it would make to give the sellers peace of mind that they'd still buy even if the appraisal came in up to $20,000 short. But that's not all. Our consultant also texted and called the listing agent to reinforce how well qualified our buyers were and that they could, in fact, still close even if the appraisal came in low. Your AccuNet consultant will help you understand your options so you can decide how aggressive you want to be. Then we do everything possible to help you win. Don't let someone else end up sleeping in your dream home. Know your options and get your rock-solid guaranteed pre-approval by clicking on the blue button at AccuNet.com. That's ACCUNET.com.
Hey, this is WTMJ Steve Kennedy from Milwaukee Weight Loss. Still injecting GLP-1 medications every month, paying hundreds, sometimes thousands of dollars just to hold on to your weight loss. Here's the reality. Stop the drugs. Stop the results. At Milwaukee Weight Loss, they don't believe in short-term weight loss. They offer a doctor-supervised, sustainable program. I was on it, designed to help you lose weight without lifelong medications or never-ending refills. No injections, no monthly refills, just staying on a drug to do the right thing is not the way you're going to keep that scale down. If you're done paying for temporary results, it's time for a real alternative. Visit MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com today. Schedule your free consultation. Have the conversation. Talk about it. Doctor developed. You can lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. I did it. I didn't think it was that difficult. Many of the people, my teammates and people who have contacted me at the radio station said, same experience. It works. And here's the cool part. I've kept the weight off. Actually lost 8 more pounds since last year. It controls your hunger and cravings, naturally helps you burn that body fat. Schedule your free consultation today at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com. See how you could lose up to 20 to 30 pounds in a month or two and keep it off. That's at MilwaukeeWeightLoss.com.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
There's no championship league for small business owners, but if there was, you'd be at the top of the standings. Because going pro with Lenovo Pro means you've got the winning formation, one-on-one advice, IT solutions, and customized hardware powered by Intel Core Ultra processors help you stay ahead of the competition. Business goes pro with Lenovo Pro. Sign up for free at lenovo.com/pro.
Lenovo. Drafty windows means wasted money. Call Siding Unlimited today for energy-efficient replacement windows and doors and start saving now. For a free estimate and honest price guarantee, go to sidingunlimited.com.
Interesting conversation on the program. Did we go really long enough?
We did.
We've got to be a
I
short
saw it. I
segment.
was like, we got to go break.
Oh,
We got to go break. All right. So we're talking about a survey from our newsletter this weekend where the binary first question was, what is more irrational, Trump devotion syndrome or Trump derangement syndrome? And, it's a reflection of who's listening to our show. Obviously, this is not a Marquette Law School poll where it is random selection of who we're polling for this.
This interesting text conversation that's going on, I can see it playing out right in front of my eyes, and you saw it as well. I think our audience is like 50-50 because I know a lot of these people that listen. I see them all the time. I talk to them. I get emails from them. I would say our audience, given that you and I do the show, is about 50-50.
I think 50-50 is an oversimplification. I actually think our
I don't have
audience
demographics to
is a
support it.
lot of people who were once conservative or were once Republican. I think there's a lot of people who reflect more like what you are, of people who consider themselves or have voted Republican and are more frustrated with the current state of things. But I don't think it breaks down. I don't think the world breaks down as easy as 50-50.
Well, it's a 50-50 state we live in, so.
But that's assuming that everyone, if you agree with everything Democrats do, or you agree with everything Republicans do. Like there is this idea of an independent voter and a swing voter and people who have a mix of views that's dependent on their values, that dependent on where they get their media from. Like I don't think everything is as binary as
black and white,
red and blue.
Nuance.
Anyways, this question I think is interesting. What direction do you think the country will go in after Trump is gone? So ostensibly 2028, it will be the end of his administration. He cannot run again. What happens to the Republican Party is yet to be seen. But these were the options that we put out in the survey. 1, more global engagement and traditional alliances. 2, more America first, nationalist approach. 3, more focus on an economic populism. 4, more focus on institutional norms and governance. 5, no major change. 6, not sure. So this had a more even split between everything. The most was more global engagement and traditional alliances, which is interesting because that was also reflected in the third question, which was just an open text box of where do you want the country to go after Trump? And it was a lot of people saying things that mirrored reestablishing our relationships in the world, recognizing how important NATO is, a lot of the things of like repairing our alliances. So interesting that what direction you think the country will go in is more global engagement. And then the second most popular answer was more focus on institutional norms and governance. And I think it's interesting because I'm wondering if this is where people think it's going to go or where they want it to go, because there was 2 different questions. Because I don't know. I think we're headed towards more economic populism. I think people are feeling the crunch, and the majority of folks, it is only getting more and more expensive, and it is transcending party lines of everyone that is not the 1 to 10% of people is starting to understand like this is not working for us, and like coming to grips with how bad Citizens United actually is for our country and our democracy. I think we're going to shift more towards that, and whichever party can actually take hold of it will be the winner.
Acknowledge that and what you think on it. I would have chosen the 2 that were the most popular, more global engagement. We have to heal the wounds that this president has created with our European allies, other countries in the world, African countries. I think there's always been a close relationship, try to do the right thing. USAID is one of those examples where we just sort of stepped away thanks to Doge, without any real consideration of the impact of that. That's one. And the other one, this has to happen. And in this case, I love the word normal, because normalizing our institutions and our governance, because this president and many of his followers and supporters, not all, and voters, have sort of blew up any trust in any system, any department, any agency, education, pick one, in this weird conspiracy theory that they're all working against our best interests. Now, no agency, no system, no person is perfect. But I would choose order over chaos any damn day of the week.
But again, is this where you think it's going to go or where you would like it to go?
That's where I think it's going to go. I hope it goes there. We got to take another break.
All right. We'll come back and finish up this conversation on Point Taken after this.
At Redo Cabinets, we know the kitchen is the heart of the home. It's the place that design and function matter most. Mark Olson here. Redo Cabinets wants to transform your kitchen into your vision without the mess, the stress, or the cost of a full kitchen remodel with cabinet refacing. During our spring sales event, learn all about refacing, premium cabinet products, and plenty of options for color, hardware, style, and accessories. And now get a free premium countertop with every refacing project, or payments that start as low as $195 a month. Call today and book a free, no-obligation consultation. Redo Cabinets, 414-677-6417. 414-677-6417. That's 414-677-6417. Or visit us at redocabinets.com. That's redocabinets.com. Serving homeowners for over 70 years in Illinois and Wisconsin. Don't replace, reface with Redo Cabinets.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life, rejuvenate.
So it's all too common of a story. And it's common enough that we account for a certain percentage of our new patients to make their first appointment and get cold feet. They put it off. I'm not sure why, because our physicians are offering legitimate medical pain relief treatment. The combination of hyaluronic acid and Toradol cushions joints and has an extremely powerful effect in reducing inflammation. So much so that a vast majority of Rejuvenex patients report a significant improvement with their pain. I guess it's human nature, but sometimes human nature keeps us in our comfort zone, even when it means remaining living in pain. So after you make your appointment to alleviate your pain, and that little voice tries to convince you to put it off, don't, because your pain problems can be solved, and you can live a better life.
Alleviate your pain, rejuvenate your life.
Call today, and there's a good chance we could be seeing you tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Jane. Before moving to Capri Communities, my daughter spent more time helping me with chores than enjoying our visits. Now she comes over and we can go to concerts, we enjoy delicious meals, and participate in activities that are always happening. I choose senior living so that our time together can be more about fun than fixing things. And I love the freedom it gives me every day.
Give the care that has your parent enjoying life again at CapriCommunities.com.
Prizes, flyaways, even cash money. You want it? We've got it. Find a list of all contests and official rules by visiting WTMJ.com/contests.
That's WTMJ.com/contests.
Find furniture for life from Ken Michaels Furniture in Brookfield, Greenfield, or downtown Milwaukee.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
Oh, yeah.
So Steve just asked me, he goes, what's your rap for because we got about 2 minutes before we have to go to the top of the hour news. And what direction do I hope the country goes in? If you had to guess which direction I hope the country goes in after 2028, what would you guess, Steve?
That we'd be more caring and thoughtful about each other. Yeah. That's exactly what I would guess.
That's exactly what it is. It's
Yeah,
like we're actually just nicer to one another.
Which is not a bad idea. I know there's a group of our population who just thrives on hate and sort of putting the jab into someone's chest or their shoulder or whatever. And I just don't get it. Like, what's the satisfaction of that?
I don't know. And it's fascinating to me. I'm such a people person. I'm so much more interested in like the psychology behind things. And, I'm working on this project as far as polarization and partisanship. And we're doing a specific focus on Gen Z and how this is encroached onto them. And in this is like, even though I am not a journalist, this project is getting me out talking to a lot more people than just here talking to you and our guests all the time. And I love it. Like, I love actually talking to people about their experiences. And the truth is that there's so many things that most of us want that is a shared desire of enough security to like send our kids to have like a better life than us, to get along, to actually like enjoy each other's company. Like, there's so much that actually brings us together. You just would not think that when you look at the media and you look at social media.
Absolutely. And there's a word that's going around. I'm working on some stuff away from the show related to gun legislation and gun violence. And the word that's used a lot now when you're talking about two very different sides on this thing is consensus. You can talk all you want about what your side thinks, whether it's one extreme or the other, but unless you have consensus, you're not getting nothing done.
So that's the other thing I sent. Did you see my email about this?
Yes.
So we want to start working on what a bill of
Absolutely.
like a new 10 policy things that a super majority of people could actually agree on. I forgot, what was it called?
I don't remember.
It's not a Bill of Rights, but it's like
that's
a new,
exactly what I'm talking
Well, we're
about.
going to start working on this and trying to
Absolutely.
see if we can find consensus on some big policy issues that 60% or more people are on board with.
Love it. All-star guest coming up. Third
Kate
appearance.
Duffy.
Kate Duffy.
Motherhood for Good. Back in the
Superstar.
studio.
How does she do it? We'll find out after the break for news.
There's a lot of noise coming out of Washington these days, but one thing retirees in Wisconsin can't afford to ignore is the new Big Beautiful Bill. Sounds harmless, right? But here's the truth. The changes buried in this bill could have a serious impact on your retirement. At Drake & Associates, we've dug into the details, and we want to make sure you know what's really at stake. The Big Beautiful Bill includes sweeping updates to tax brackets, Social Security thresholds, Medicare premiums, and retirement account rules. And for many retirees, it could mean higher taxes on your savings, more limits on deductions, and unexpected changes to your income plan. Maybe you're already retired, or maybe you're just a few years away. Either way, what you don't know could cost you thousands. That's why we're offering Wisconsin residents a free educational guide to help you understand how the new bill may impact retirees and questions to discuss with your trusted financial advisor. Just text the word tax to 414-897-9522. That's tax, T-A-X, to 414-897-9522. You'll get immediate access to expert insights from the team at Drake & Associates, retirement planners who have been serving Wisconsin for over 20 years. We focus on tax-efficient retirement planning, helping you keep more of your money, avoiding surprises, and staying ahead of the curve no matter what Congress throws your way. So before the Big Beautiful Bill takes a bite out of your hard-earned savings, let's make sure your plan is designed to help prepare for uncertainty. Text TAX to 414-897-9522. That's TAX to 414-897-9522. Drake & Associates, helping build retirement confidence right here in Wisconsin.
Drake & Associates LLC is an independent investment advisory firm that offers a variety of different investment vehicles. This commercial is provided for informational purposes only and should not be construed as individual investment advice. Drake & Associates LLC does not provide legal or tax advice. Past performance is not indicative of future performance.
March has arrived, and the biggest tournament in basketball is right around the corner. Join me, Greg Matzik, Wednesday, March 18th from 4 to 5 at Kips Inn. I'll be there with the KBN crew from ESPN Wisconsin as we kick things off with our friends from Screamin' Sicilian. Get those picks locked in, talk matchups with us, or just get ready for all the action ahead. The road to a championship begins at Kips Inn in West Dallas with Screamin' Sicilian. Free pizza while it lasts. Hope to see you at Kips Inn in West Dallas on the 18th.
A new deck from Outdoor Living Unlimited is built to last. We are Wisconsin's #1 TimberTech deck installation team. For amazing ideas, go to Outdoor Living Unlimited's Instagram page. For a free estimate, go to OutdoorLivingUnlimited.com.
Active Liver from New Nordic protects your liver so you can enjoy life to the fullest. Online at Amazon, in stores at CVS, Wegmans, and now GNC. Transform your home today. Exterior Pros. Trust the pros.
Your trusted and relevant source for news, sports, traffic, and weather. We are Wisconsin's radio station. News Radio 620, WTMJ, Milwaukee.
Just after 11 o'clock, it's 17 degrees, mostly sunny but cold conditions today, a high of just 22. From the WTMJ Breaking News Center, I'm Neil Doyle. The director of the National Counterterrorism Center is resigning over the war in Iran. More from CBS News correspondent Michael Wallace.
In his resignation letter to President Trump, who had appointed him, Joe Kent says he cannot in good conscience support the war in Iran, which he says posed no imminent threat to the U.S. Kent says it is clear we started the war due to pressure from Israel and its powerful American lobby. He tells Trump he can reverse course or allow the U.S. to slip further toward decline and chaos.
Kent served 11 combat tours, mostly in Iraq, before joining the CIA. A man from Milwaukee charged in the shooting death of 2 people and their unborn child.
27-year-old Tyrese Allen faces 3 felonies of first-degree intentional homicide. Maya Tolbert was at least 25 weeks pregnant when she and Giovanni McVicker were shot multiple times outside an apartment building last week. Investigators say the shooting happened after an argument turned into a physical fight between Allen, the victims, and 2 other people. Allen could face a mandatory life sentence in prison. He's due back in court on Monday. Jessica Gatso, WTMJ News.
Some of the animal rights activists accused of breaking into Ridgeland Farms in Dane County on Sunday expected to make their first court appearance today.
One by one, the activists rushed out of Ridgeland Farms with a dog in their arms. They took more than 20.
They don't need to come to the window.
The activists say they were saving the beagles from abuse. Ridgeland Farms breeds beagles for biomedical research. Attorney Eric McLeod.
State and federal regulators routinely inspect Ridgeland Farms facilities to ensure that they're complying with those very strict animal welfare standards. And if the government had concerns that Ridgeland Farms was engaged in animal cruelty, you can be sure that those government entities would take action against them.
Jessica Ty, WTMJ News.
Olympic champion and Kewaskum native Jordan Stoles says he's happy to be home after competing in the Winter Games. Stoles telling Wisconsin's Morning News how he handled the expectations, being a favorite in multiple races.
That was kind of in the back of my mind, adding a bit of pressure. But media stuff and like Snoop Dogg and Simone Biles showing up to the races, that didn't really add any pressure. A lot of people asked me that, but I don't think it did. So I think it was more so just trying to go to the line and have a good race.
Stoles returned from Italy with 2 golds and a silver medal. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management Market Update. Everything in the green still. The Dow is up about 60 points at 47,100. The NASDAQ is up 57 at 22,430. And the S&P 500 is sitting up 14 points at 6,713. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Sports, traffic, and weather are next. Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:04.
For growing businesses, digital marketing shouldn't be a gamble. If your business needs results, not guesswork, it's time for a different approach. At Margot Media, we deliver real results for businesses in an evolving digital world. Backed by data, guided by strategy, and focused on actionable outcomes. We partner with businesses of all sizes to drive growth locally or nationwide. Set up a free consultation today. Visit us at marglemedia.com. That's MARGLE media.com.
Day after day, year after year, the heavy lifting, the repetitive motion, and now your body feels it. Your back, your knees, your quality of life.
At Access Legal, we stand up for people worn down by work.
Workers' comp is our sole focus, and our team has recovered more than $35 million for Wisconsin workers. From sudden accidents to pain that builds over years of hard work, we're dedicated to fighting for the benefits you're entitled to. If you've been worn down by work, contact Access Legal for a risk-free consultation.
Search AXIS Legal today.
True luxury is the absence of worry. It begins the moment you settle into your seat with Delta Vacations and continues as you step onto the polished teak decks of a Holland America ship. Whether you're chasing the northern lights or the Mediterranean sun, Fox World Travel anticipates every detail so you can simply savor the journey. Stop managing the logistics and start making memories. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to elevate your travel today.
Do you hear that? That means that baseball is almost here. We're counting down to opening day as the Brewers open the season against the White Sox on Thursday, March 26th. This opening day series is sponsored by Matrix Basement Finishing. Mention opening day and save an additional 10%. Visit matrixbasements.com. Catch Brewers baseball on WTMJ all season long. We are the flagship station for Brewers baseball. WTMJ.
Time for a WTMJ sports update from the Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all sports desk. Team USA taking on Venezuela in the finals of the World Baseball Classic. The U.S. looking for its second WBC title. 7 o'clock first pitch tonight. That is at Lone Depot Park in Miami. Spring training baseball. Brewers had the offense rolling, to say the least, yesterday. They scored 24 runs, beat the Dodgers 24-9. Through just 8 games left this spring before opening day next week. Milwaukee Bucks back on their home floor tonight. They'll take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll have coverage of that one starting at 6:30 here on WTMJ. And in men's college hoops, NCAA tournament officially starts tonight. 2 games in the first 4. That's in Dayton, Ohio. 16 seeds, it's Howard against UMBC. And then 11 seeds, Texas and NC State will go at it. Wisconsin taking on High Point. First round game is on Thursday. Badger Sports Updates are sponsored by Siding Unlimited, siding, and a whole lot more. Let's take a look at the roads, your WTMJ time saver traffic. We do have a minor incident. This is Wisconsin 190, just west of I-41 and 45 southbound. So just off the system there. Part of the left shoulder is blocked. That's due to a reported crash. Do have some other disabled vehicles kind of scattered across the system, but none of them in traffic. So everything else moving along nicely. And your forecast, plenty of sunshine. It is chilly today. We're not going to get a whole lot warmer, only high around 22 degrees. Tonight, we could see a couple of snow showers move into the area. Not expecting a whole lot of accumulation, less than an inch, a low down to 18. For Wednesday, will be mostly cloudy, a high of 38. Thursday, we could maybe see a chance for a bit of a rain-snow mix early, otherwise partly sunny, a high of 43. And then continuing to warm up as we move through the week. Friday, mostly cloudy, highs in the upper 40s. Right now, it's 14 degrees in Green Bay. We're sitting at 16 in Waukesha, and it's 17 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:08.
Broadcasting live from the Annex Wealth Management Studios at the Avenue. It's time for Point Taken. Here are your hosts, Steve Scafidi and Kristen Bry.
Welcome back to the 11 o'clock hour of Point Taken. I'm Kristen Bry. He is Steve Scafidi, and we are here with our friend Kate Duffy of Motherhood for Good. Second time?
I think so, yeah.
Second time on the show. For people who maybe missed your last appearance, what is Motherhood for Good?
Motherhood for Good is a community of moms and women just trying to get more involved in news and politics and civic change and talking about it in a more accessible, approachable way. And you can find me mostly yapping on Instagram, but all over the internet, really.
She's fun to follow. I mean, I don't see in everything because I'm not on everything, but the stuff I read, I always, as much as I may not agree with everything Kate says or you say, I want to know what other people are thinking about the same stories, issues that I'm thinking about. So that fascinates me. And the fact that you engage at the level you engage, I don't know how you do it with your schedule. That's like same with you. Like, how are you figuring this stuff out? That seems insane to me.
Especially since we both have ADHD.
Well,
like I
think that's why, because we go down. It's like all or nothing.
Bing, 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 bang.
Yeah.
Are you list makers?
No.
Oh well, yeah. I have 200 different lists at any given time.
That's
really the problem. I know.
It's not effective list making. It's like list making to feel like I'm doing something and trying to get organized, and then I discard the list because I can't find it, and then I have to start over.
All right, where are we starting today?
We're starting with. So did they cancel, or are they still doing it? So the last day of the state Senate session is today.
Scheduled today.
Why would they cancel it?
Well, because of the weather yesterday.
Did you not see me get stuck in the snow yesterday, Kate?
I did, but I'm pretty sure that, it's still on.
It's still on for today. And there's like over 100 bills that are getting voted on.
Lots of work.
It sounds like, but the thing that was interesting, I'm not sure there's been a lot of confirmation, but is there a chance that this is Devin LeMahieu's last day? Did you hear this?
Seems like there's a chance.
Majority leader in the Senate.
Leader in the Senate. And so you talked about this, Steve, a little bit with Matt Smith on yesterday.
Yeah, because this gambling issue is touchy.
State Senator Kapanga was on up front over the weekend criticizing the decision to potentially bring the sports betting bill to the floor.
Yeah, and I'm not debating the fact that this is a touchy subject for Republicans and conservatives. It is. Gambling is always a weird one. Now, you know me. I love gambling, and I go to Vegas 4 times a year, and then I find other opportunities to gamble even when I'm not in Vegas. So I'm supportive of this idea of online betting. I know that there's all these different ideas about how this plays out, whether this hub and spoke thing where the tribes are still sort of involved in it, whether it's outside of that, which involves a lot of heavy lifting when it comes to changing, including the state constitution, the laws of the land in Wisconsin. So Republicans are in this weird situation where you have a group of people that identify as Republicans or identify as conservatives who may not be all in on gambling, online or otherwise. They don't even like the fact that we have gambling, many of these people. So how does a leader, Devin LeMahieu, figure out a path to get this moving forward? I don't think it's going to survive. But I could be the lone voice that says that. Some people think it's gonna get pushed through. We'll find out pretty quickly here. But
have you followed this this
Not
match?
really. I kind of see it when it's in the news a little bit. I don't really know what my opinion is on it, and I don't know all the intricacies behind support. But I do know, like anecdotally, several people who have gotten in really sticky situations with online gambling. So I'm always thinking about that.
And I talked about it yesterday. Young men specifically.
Yep.
Whoa. Really, really head first into this stuff. The other fascinating thing, this is where I really want to get your take. We've seen Robin Vos announce he's going.
Yep.
We're now hearing potentially Devin LeMahieu, majority leader in the Senate, potentially going.
Mm-hmm.
What am I missing here? What is the messaging that we should out here in voter land should be taking away from Republican leadership saying, I'm good, I'm going to do something else?
I personally think the Voss thing is a bit different than the Senate thing. For me, I'm more so looking at, this is the first time Democrats have a chance to flip the Senate after over a decade. And it's not just him, but we've had
Steve Nass.
Yep. And the
Rob Hutton.
I'm
missing someone. And then there's also Van Weggard has not decided yet.
Yeah, so the Republican senators are kind of dropping like flies. It kind of feels like the writing's on the wall.
But that's also what we're seeing nationally too, right? There's a lot of people in Congress who are not running for re-election this fall.
Well, and some are like a bit older, later in their career. It makes sense, but like Devin LeMahieu is not.
Rob Hutton not.
Apparently, he was
young
looking
too.
for a sort of a private sector position that apparently may have come forward for him. So maybe that's Jim Steineke is another example.
Is it a gambling company, by the way?
I have no idea. I'm not going to speculate. I'm just fascinated by the conversation. If I'm adamant that I have the right ideas, and I'm talking about the Robin Vosses, the Devin LeMahieu's, Republicans, conservative, whatever, I want to stick around for the fight, the battle, the conversation. I'm not going to just say, we're not going to be in power anymore. I'm stepping away. That seems rather lazy.
But it's also a trend that we're seeing as far as, like we said, obviously Judge Maria Lazar is running a campaign, has not had a ton of support or backing from the WIS GOP, it feels like, as far as the same kind of level of financial support that we've seen the last two electoral cycles for that position. We have Justice Ziegler is not running again. And so the opportunity to recruit, there's more time this time, but there does feel like, and I don't know. I this would be more of your
the
arena,
phrase
Steve,
is right. The writing's on the wall. They see this sort of. We're not going to have the power and the levers to do the things we want to do, so we're just stepping out of the game. Politics is so ugly now. That might be, and again, reading someone's mind in politics is crazy. Look no further than the Oval Office. Mm-hmm. It's just so hard to understand this, but it does seem sort of an abdication of the leadership we've had as Republicans in the state for so long. They're not engaged like they used to. Maybe that is a sign that they're reading the writing on the wall, just saying we can't do this. We're not gonna sit here and fight. Let the next generation step up. But who are those people?
Well, but if you think about it like sports or whatever, like a football team, there's the players and then the general manager and owner. So like the politicians are the players and some of them want to retire, whatever. But who's the general manager? You know what I mean?
Coach?
Like somebody
it's not
behind
Brian Schimming, I can tell you that.
Right. Somebody behind the scenes has got to be making a different plan, right? It almost makes me a little nervous. I'm like, what's going on? I don't know.
All right. She's Kate Duffy.
I'm Kristen Bry.
Yeah, and I'm Steve, and we're going to continue the conversation on Point Taken on 620 WTMJ after this.
In 1987, the Bucks took on the world and changed basketball forever.
At stake, basketball supremacy in the United States.
Bucks versus the World, narrated by Charlie Behrens, is the new season of Behind the Bucks podcast, presented by Gallagher, your trusted insurance broker and HR and benefits consultant. It's the untold story of the 1987 McDonald's Open, when the Bucks became the first NBA team to face the Soviet Union. Listen now on Bucks.com/plus, the Bucks app, the ESPN Wisconsin app, and wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, it's WTMJ's Kristen Bry, and it's time to make sure you have a great smile for all of those photo ops coming up this spring and summer. So I want to tell you about the dentist I recommend, Dr. James Michaels at Economwalk Dental Care, my dentist. If you've been putting off a cleaning, dealing with tooth sensitivity, or you're finally ready to deal with what's been bothering you, this is the place to start. Dr. Michaels and his team are welcoming, thorough, and focused on your comfort. They'll explain your options clearly and help you feel at ease in the chair. From regular checkups to crowns, cosmetic improvements, implants, and Invisalign, they can handle it all. And if something happens unexpectedly, they offer emergency dentistry too. So call 262-567-7224 to request an appointment or just visit drmichaelsdentalcare.com.
Wisconsin weather doesn't wait, and neither should you. At Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin, we make upgrading your home simple. Right now, order today and get 0% interest until 2032. You heard me right. 0% interest all the way until 2032. Upgrade your windows and doors now and pay over time without paying interest. With our 10-year limited warranty, you can feel confident in your investment. Schedule your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. It's 3/31/2026.
Well, welcome back to Point Taken. I am Kristen Bry along with Steve Scafidi, and we were talking to Kate Duffy, founder of Motherhood for Good. And
at least, I mean, it's kind of been a trend. We talked about it a fair amount last week, but I think it's at the forefront of a lot of people's minds. Obviously, you talk to moms, you are a mom, I am a mom, and one of the things that comes up a lot is the care economy. And part of that is childcare. Part of it is schools. Part of it is housing. But also in the care economy, do you also include, since we are the sandwich generation of our parents getting older, and there's a whole other part of the care economy as far as healthcare and long-term assisted living and everything like that. And so whether it's at a federal level or a Wisconsin level, what are you hearing as far as looking ahead to good policy that is not partisan, that could help a lot of people?
Yeah. Well, this is
we need to get there. We go. Got your mic on.
Okay, this is really interesting because this is a conversation that we have a lot in my community. And I just spoke with Congressman Gomez out of California last week. He's chair of the Dad's Caucus in the U.S. House, because he always noticed that women were always talking about these like family bills, but they touch everybody. And so there's three main pillars, but two of the main ones I want to talk about right now are, paid leave and childcare. And he was talking about how for families who have kids in childcare, your that cost plus your housing ends up being 60 to 70% of your income. That is crazy. And everybody knows that's something that needs to be addressed. The other big thing is paid leave. And like you mentioned with the sandwich generation, again, this is not just maternity leave we're talking about. This is anybody who needs to take up to 12 weeks of paid leave, ideally is what it would be structured around, to help care for themselves or a family member after a medical event. And as our generation gets older and, has kids, but also has parents who are aging and dealing with medical issues, you have to have that sort of safe social safety net. And the way they're doing it, I mean, Virginia just passed it because Abigail Spanberger is the governor now. They have a Dem trifecta. They're pushing through a lot of great bills that are actually helping with costs.
Chris and I were tossing around the word consensus before. We can all talk about our sides and what we believe, what the policies we advocate for. But in the real world, consensus gets things done on these issues like child care in general, especially for seniors. And I'm part of that group that's increasing rapidly, exponentially, or even housing issues. How do we get to a consensus where we can actually get things passed through the legislatures, through Congress, and signed by the governor or the president?
I think it's taking a look at something and really thinking about all the different groups it could impact and making people realize, like, this could happen to you at any point. This could be something that is useful to you, like the paid leave. I think for a while, a lot of times it was talked about for like new mothers and people didn't consider that helpful to themselves. But if you look at the other groups, and honestly, anybody can get sick at any time, and you shouldn't have to worry about a paycheck if you're like trying to heal from cancer or anything like that. So I think the more you talk about the different groups, the more people realize, oh, that's something I wouldn't mind, like paying into each paycheck is a very small amount to give me that peace of mind.
Is that what Virginia is doing as
Yes.
far as it's similar to the Minnesota model where it's like the unemployment tax?
Yeah, it's
where
a payroll
both
tax.
Yeah, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Given that the argument is that my generation's growing rapidly, I would not be surprised if many of these ideas actually got more serious consideration because those people are thinking about this stuff and how their care is received, how they shouldn't be bankrupted by a terminal illness. So their family, not just them, but their families wiped out. That's actually going to have probably a bigger slice of the pie when it comes to the conversation about healthcare and all that stuff.
Well, you recently went to a WMC women's lunch, right? And so WMC obviously is Wisconsin Manufacturers Commission.
Commerce.
Yeah.
It was like
And
with their
commerce.
foundation arm, and it was a Women in Business Day.
But it's one of the biggest workplace lobbying firms in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
It tends to swing and support Republicans and lean conservative, but obviously it's open to everyone and technically on paper nonpartisan.
Yeah.
You went. So what were did this come up in that circle, in that luncheon?
It did, although it was the thing I noticed was that there were undertones of maybe policy stuff, but it was much more undertones. You know what I
Okay.
mean? So they did talk about, women in business and the economy, and they had an economist come in, give an update on tariffs and all that stuff. And I felt like everything just had some Republican vibes, even though it was nonpartisan. But even this economist was like, listen, I'm not going to speculate what's going to happen at midterms, but if we cannot get childcare costs, grocery costs, stuff like that under control, or not, she didn't say we, she said if Republicans cannot, then we can pretty much guess what's going to happen with the midterms.
If you could tell in that group, in those people assembled to talk about that stuff, is it understood that although many people say let them pay for their own damn kids, and I'm just paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm. No, a lot of people say that.
Yeah. that really doesn't make sense when you're trying to fill jobs and help manufacturers and businesses have a stable workforce that shows up every day, because all of those challenges with childcare, the incredible expense, it's not the same as I paid $200 a month for 2 kids when my kids were in childcare. It ain't like that anymore.
Must be nice.
now it's like a mortgage payment.
Yeah.
It's a mortgage payment
I
or
think
more.
$200 is what you could spend that at a night for a babysitter.
I know.
Yeah.
Obviously, it was a long time ago.
So yeah, it was talked about. I mean, it was a room full of women of all ages, but a lot of millennial women, and so there were topics about their jobs and just how to get ahead in business, especially given the type of environment that is. But also, yeah, they did talk about childcare quite a bit and the different costs and all the things that working moms are struggling with, which is another consensus area. It doesn't matter if you're a Republican or a Democrat. If you're a working mom, we all feel a lot of the same pain.
She is Kate Duffy, Motherhood for Good. She's going to stick around one more segment?
I'm always down, yeah.
All right, right to the news at the bottom. That's coming up in a little bit here on 620 WTMJ.
When snowstorms hit and the roads turn slick.
These slick roads are pretty brutal.
When school closings start rolling in and traffic slows to a crawl.
The snowfall closing schools in Kenosha.
We've got the latest updates on forecasts and everything else you need to know during severe winter weather. Find Fleet Farm Storm Team alerts on air and online at WTMJ.com or on the WTMJ mobile app. Stay safe. Stay informed with WTMJ.
Walney Legal Group specializes in estate planning, wills, trusts, probate, elder care, and special needs planning. They offer a custom, personalized experience, not a cookie-cutter, one-size-fits-all solution. Estate planning is an uncomfortable necessity. Walney makes it smooth, easy, and as painless as possible. They take care of you from the start to finish. Their motto is lawyering the way it should be. Clear communication, niche expertise, personal service, modern approach. They've won many awards, including Best Lawyers in America, and Attorney Walney has been named a 5-star estate planner more than 5 times than any other lawyer in Wisconsin. They help everyone, young adults, business owners, families, retirees, high net worth individuals, blended families, professionals, etc. Everyone over the age of 18 can be impacted by estate planning. Only 16% of people have appropriate current planning documents. You can't set it and forget it. If it's been a few years, have Walney Legal Group review and update it. They've seen a lack of planning even impact young adults. Protect yourself by getting some powers of attorney in place. The team at Walney Legal Group are friendly, creative, sensible, and smart. Can help with elder planning and special needs children transitioning to adulthood. Offer legal support for the transition into nursing home and assisted living. Visit walneylegal.com to start a conversation no matter what phase you're in.
Join the Brewers Series against the White Sox March 26th, 28th, and 29th. Grab this year's first giveaway on Saturday the 28th, a replica of American Family Field for the first 25,000 fans, courtesy of American Family Insurance. On the 29th, it's Kids Cheer Free. Buy an adult terrace seat and receive a free ticket for kids ages 14 and under. On Sunday the 29th, the first 5,000 kids get a drip necklace giveaway. Grab your seats at brewers.com/tickets.
Look, it's Jake from our store in Kenosha.
Hi, Monica. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Rick.
Your email said you had a big surprise.
Look and tell me what you see.
Wow, I see 9 perfect examples of the classic diamond solitaire engagement ring.
They're gorgeous.
These rings are exactly what people imagine when they hear the words engagement ring.
Monica, do you think it will always be like that?
Evermore.
That long?
And each of these is 3/4 of a carat.
$998.
Unbelievable. So how much do we sell them for?
That is how much we sell them for.
Can we do that?
We're the largest employee-owned jewelry company in America, Rick. We can do anything we want.
But for how long?
Evermore.
People can choose any of the 9 most popular style solitaires, 3/4 of a carat, and each of them was created in the heart of a miniature star.
5 different diamond shapes, 2 colors of gold. Evermore, just $998.
Or $14.98 with a 1-carat diamond center with diamonds on the side.
Learn more at KesslersDiamonds.com.
Before I moved to Capri Communities, my daughter spent more time helping me with chores than enjoying our visits. Now, when she comes over, we go to concerts, enjoy delicious meals, and participate in great activities that are always happening. I choose senior living so that our time together can be about fun, not fixing things. And I love the freedom it gives me every day.
Give the care that has your parent enjoying life again. Get started today at CapriCommunities.com.
All right, Kate Duffy, Motherhood for Good. How do folks find you other than just putting that in the search bar?
Well, yeah, you can go to motherhoodforgood.com. That is where the website is, but mostly on Instagram at motherhoodforgood. And yeah, got a lot of stuff going on. So try to cover both stuff in Wisconsin and nationally. We have a big election coming up in April, which is just a few weeks away.
Hard to believe, right?
I also will say, because I pointed this out, but then you pointed it out as well. We had dual videos last week as far as reminding people that the April election is different than the fall election.
Yeah.
Because I think I've seen some texts come through as far as confusing because we're already talking about governor candidates and some of the things that are going to be voted on in a primary in August and the fall that is not on your April ballot.
I think there's a lot of people that think like that, too. That's
there
scary.
are. And even with stuff like the Texas primary that just happened was more like federal. We have all states do it differently.
Yes.
Ours is technically nonpartisan. So we got the Supreme Court, which hopefully most people know about, although we know that most people actually don't because of the recent Marquette poll. But also a lot of other nonpartisan races, school board, village board,
mayor, county executives. Yeah, there's a lot of nonpartisan down ballot races. You just have to go to myvote.wi.gov. You can type in your address and it will show you everything that's going to be on your ballot on April 7th.
All right, Kate Duffy, how do you celebrate St. Patrick's Day? Corned beef?
You know, I don't have anything planned for dinner yet. I was gonna think of something fun, but I'll just put some music on. And my kids are little, so if I look like I'm having fun, we'll have fun.
You'll never go wrong because I used to do this with my kids. You go to the local grocery store. Back then, it was Pick and Save. You buy these shamrock-shaped cookies, sugar cookies. Love it.
I do appreciate that Kate and I both forgot to get like food coloring to do the magic milk thing for our kids this morning, but I feel like we have time.
Yeah.
We'll do it when they're older.
All right, we'll see you next month.
Yeah.
If not sooner. Kate Duffy, Motherhood for Good. All right, after the break for news here, Colessa Morgan, City Forward Collective, a local nonprofit working to ensure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family. Always enjoy our conversations with Colessa, and we'll do that after the news break, which is coming up in a little bit here. And then this show has gone so fast today. There's things that
This
I
is
want.
what happens when we go 2 days without having
And you
a
were
show
gone
together.
yesterday, so I had to do a lot
gone
of
Friday.
different things. And Friday, too. You need to work more. All right.
Apparently.
Neil Doyle is coming up with local news. Before he gets that, here's the latest from ABC.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump appealing to allies to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, closed off by Iran, and at the same time saying the U.S. doesn't need allied help.
The president writing that because the U.S. has had military success, quote, we no longer need or desire the NATO countries' assistance and doesn't need Japan, Australia, or South Korea. He notably doesn't single out China, a country he's been putting pressure on to help reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The post comes after days of the president pushing these countries to help the U.S. military with escorts of ships and tankers in the strait, which Iran has effectively blocked with ongoing missile and drone strikes. Karen Travers, ABC News, the White House.
The president at the White House this hour for bilateral meetings with the Taoiseach of Ireland also applauded the resignation of Joe Kent. He was the former head of the National Counterterrorism Center. He announced earlier he's leaving due to the war with Iran. And on Wall Street, stocks are up this hour, trying to regain some of the losses from last week. This is ABC News.
Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:31. I'm Neil Doyle. Blizzard conditions to start the week across parts of the Badger State, breaking several records. The National Weather Service, as Wausau broke 2 records. Its highest one-day snowfall, which was over 23 inches. That was above the city's previous record, which was 16 inches back in 2019. Wausau also breaking its 3-day winter storm record, over 30 inches of snow from Saturday evening through Monday morning. Green Bay also setting a daily record for its March 15th snowfall. They saw over 17 inches. The old record was previously 6. Busy day in Madison for lawmakers in the state Senate. Over 100 bills will be considered on the floor today in what's expected to be the Senate's final session of the year. The session actually just getting underway this hour in Madison. One bill getting a lot of talk. It would legalize online sports betting. It will be called for a vote today. It received bipartisan support in the state assembly last month. If approved, it would then head to the governor's desk. Time for news about your money and the WTMJ Annex Wealth Management market update. Everything's still sitting in the green. The Dow is up about 115 points at 47,062. The NASDAQ is up 93 at 22,460. And the S&P 500 is sitting up 21 points at 6,720. Financial planning at every level. Annex Comprehensive Wealth, Annex Private Client, Annex Ignite. Details at annexwealth.com. Take a look at the roads, your WTMJ Time Saver traffic. We have a new crash to report. This is 4394 northbound, basically right in the Mitchell interchange. Part of the right shoulder there is blocked because of this crash, so kind of scooting you over a bit. Typical slowdowns as well. We're seeing 94 east and westbound. This is right near the stadium in our construction zone. Otherwise, everything else is moving along nicely. As for your forecast, plenty of sunshine, but chilly today, not getting a whole lot warmer, only a high around 22 degrees. Tonight, we could see a chance for a couple of snow showers popping up. Not expecting a whole lot of accumulation, probably less than an inch. A low down to 18 tonight. Tomorrow, then, mostly cloudy with a high near 38. Could maybe see a bit of a rain-snow mix early Thursday, otherwise partly sunny, a high of 43. And then warming up as we move through the week, mostly cloudy Friday with highs in the upper 40s. Right now, it's 16 degrees in Madison, sitting at 19 in Kenosha, and it's 18 degrees in Milwaukee. I'm Neil Doyle, Outdoor Living Unlimited, WTMJ News Time, 11:34.
March into big savings at Exterior Pros and Baths. Refresh your home this season with energy-efficient windows, durable roofing, beautiful new siding, or a stunning bath remodel and get $3,000 off your project. That's $3,000 in instant savings during their March savings event. But this offer won't last long. Call 262-800-4274 or visit extpros.com today. Exterior Pros and Baths. Big savings done right.
Experience an auto show like never before. The Milwaukee Auto Show hits the road with new dates and a new easy access, easy to park location. Clear your calendar. May 14th through 17th at the Wisconsin State Fair Park and Expo Center. Whether shopping or just dreaming, you'll see sleek luxury cars to rugged trucks and everyday favorites. Hundreds of new vehicles. May 14th through 17th at the Wisconsin State Fair Park and Expo Center. AutoShowMilwaukee.com.
Day after day, year after year, the heavy lifting, the repetitive motion, and now your body feels it. Your back, your knees, your quality of life.
At Access Legal, we stand up for people worn down by work.
Workers' comp is our sole focus, and our team has recovered more than $35 million for Wisconsin workers. From sudden accidents to pain that builds over years of hard work, we're dedicated to fighting for the benefits you're entitled to. If you've been worn down by work, contact Access Legal for a risk-free consultation.
Search AXIS Legal today.
Tune in to Wisconsin's Midday News with Greg Matzik and Jessica Ty.
From the WTMJ breaking newsroom, a Milwaukee police officer shot a person after being dragged several blocks by a vehicle on the city's south side. Reports indicate the incident happened near the intersection of 15th and Grant.
Every weekday from noon until 3 p.m.
A man remains hospitalized this afternoon after Milwaukee police say he swallowed illegal drugs after trying to get away from police.
Only on WTMJ. It's time for some forward thinking on Point Taken. Brought to you by City Forward Collective, focusing on education in Milwaukee.
Always love our conversation. Cleston Morgan, he's the big guy there at City Forward Collective and an expert on education, especially in our part of the state. So we talked about earlier, the legislature's sort of wrapping it up.
Or at least so they say.
They say, yeah. It could have a special
one
session.
already did.
Yeah, one. The Assembly's done.
other
Senate
is
meeting today.
Yeah.
All right, so focused on education like you are at City Forward Collective, are we expecting anything to happen today in regards to education?
Look, I think at this point, I'm not going to make any predictions about what the next 24, if it's anything like the Assembly, maybe 48 hours might bring. But, I think, I'm an old teacher, so it's always good to
You're a
sign
young
grades.
teacher.
Yeah, and my kids will tell you otherwise. But, I think the grade right now is still incomplete. Right? There's been some good work. What happened in the budget was good, but clearly there are some big questions and big challenges that are facing K-12 education as you look around the state.
So what did they get done this session? I guess maybe that's a better way to phrase it.
It's a great question, right? The conversation has been all about property taxes and additional funding. And I think we forget that it was just 6 months ago that the state budget came into play with, a second straight session of $1 billion plus, additional investments, if I include early childhood, across the education continuum. Now, whether those dollars went into the right places and whether they were enough dollars, I think is the fight we're having now. But it's worth sort of stepping back and saying, this is now 2 straight budgets where on a bipartisan basis, we saw agreements come together around the entirety of the state budget in which increases in K-12 spending were some of the key components of it. And as we're seeing from these property tax increases and the challenges that are facing schools of all types around our city and our state, the funding challenges are real. I think at the end of the day, we've got a funding system that was built to go one way, to grow, grow, grow. And we've got a K-12 student population, as DPI's data that came out last week is saying, I think it was 68 of 72 counties, if I got my numbers right, saw declines in their K-12 enrollment. This is a challenge that it's not going away. And frankly, all the leading indicators say it's going to get worse.
So as far as, like you said, we had bipartisan $1 billion investment. Was there anything else that you saw that you thought was good as far as legislation having to do with K through 12 education?
It seems like at the end of the session, we finally got there on some of the issues around teacher misconduct.
Yeah.
I think it is, none of us want our kids to be unsafe in school. All of us want to ensure that teachers who are in front of our students are going to protect them. And it took a lot of wrangling and hassling, but it does seem like, we've got some better structures in place. I think I saw a legislator saying, someone who got out on 6 months on a misconduct citation now would be looking at 10 to 15 years. It's not a conversation we want to spend a lot of time on, but it is important to make sure that our kids are safe at school.
Was that the big one? Because I know when the Cap Times DPI story first broke, there was a lot of conversations about a lot of different legislation that could happen as far as the tracking system, transparency, different rules around what grooming is and what the consequences are. Is there any more update on how it gets tracked and how that information is publicly available for someone to be able to look it up?
I think there's still some work to do on the tracking part.
Okay.
What is clear now is, one of the things that came out in that conversation, you sort of have to separate the political discourse from the policy conversation underneath it. But when you listen to law enforcement, when you listen to even some of the DPI sort of down the line staffers on this, they didn't have clarity statutorily as to what constituted grooming. They knew it was bad. They're sort of pulling in other pieces, but there wasn't sort of a clear, this thing gets this consequence. I do think we've now got statutes on the book that are clearer on that, and I think that's to everyone's benefit, most especially our kids.
Some progress made there. Some concerns, though, and you mentioned this in your notes. A funding proposal circulated by Democratic lawmakers, LRB 6488, Representative Phelps and Cruz, might be a problematic bill. What do you think?
So this is a thing that keeps coming up, and we just got to have this conversation.
Tell us what it is.
Yeah, so let's start, in Milwaukee, half of our publicly funded students, 48% this year, are enrolled outside of Milwaukee public schools. Yet we keep getting proposals. It happened in the state budget process, the reference bureau memo that you just referenced, it happened again, where we were getting proposals that would cut that 48% of students out of funding increases. We've been talking about the K-12 funding challenges. They exist for every one of our publicly funded kids in Milwaukee. Here in Milwaukee, we're already losing out on about $200 million on an annual basis because we fund students in public charter and private schools at a different level than their peers in Milwaukee public schools. And there, lots of policy conversations to be had, but the idea that we would invest another $1 billion in K-12 education, but leave out half of Milwaukee students from that, I think it's a real mistake. I think it's a mistake on the policy merits. I know it's a mistake for students and families, and while I'm not a political type all the way, like I think it's a political mistake as well.
I'm glad you're shedding light on that. The other one is of course, MPS. You can't have an education conversation when talking about MPS. You've been supportive of the efforts of the superintendent Casilius. Still moving in the right direction?
It's probably another incomplete. She's coming up in just about 1 year. I do think the conversation we had in the last couple of weeks and what they were able to do, I think it was last week that the board approved her recommendations for another round of central office right sizing. And
did that surprise you?
I don't know if anything.
When the vote was happening, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go. And so when it came that it wasn't unanimous, but as far as the fact that they approved it, I was like, okay.
I think that the superintendent has been forthright about the financial challenges. I've said this with you all, I've said in other places before, and I think that helps a lot. There's a lot more work to be done, but this was a good start.
All right. He's executive director of the City Forward Collective. Great organization working on behalf of education in Milwaukee and beyond, really, because we're talking about the state of Wisconsin. We'll continue the conversation on Point Taken. Kristen and Steve on 620 WTMJ.
$1 doesn't buy much unless you're spending it at Griffin. For just $1 over cost, you can buy brand new tires from us. This is Jim Griffin. Any major brand, $1 over our cost with free tire repair and lifetime rotation. We'll even show you the invoice to prove it. Our only requirements, we put them on for you. Buy one or the whole set. The dollar deal from Griffin. Milwaukee and Waukesha. Griffin. The buck stops here, but the deals on tires don't. That's Griffin.
Not combinable with other tire offers.
Hey, it's WTMJ, Steve Skivity for Annex Wealth Management as tax filing season ends soon. And I just did our taxes this weekend along with my wife. It can be a good time to review your financial situation, market shift, cost change, and your own priorities for 2026 may also have changed. That's where Annex Wealth Management comes in. They take time to understand you and your full financial picture. Get the whole picture. With their holistic approach, you can take advantage of a plan that can help you reach your goals for retirement. If that's your goal, discover new investment strategies, have better tax awareness, very timely and relevant, and create an estate plan to help ease that burden after you're gone. No matter where you are in your financial journey, Annex provides the knowledge to help you evaluate your choices and move forward with guidance. Annex is also very visible with financial education. Great webinars on inflation, jobs, economy, tax strategies, in-person events. I've helped on a lot of these things, keeping you informed and staying prepared when the market fluctuates, and it always does that. Connect with them on social media right here on WTMJ every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Money Talk, fantastic show if you want to learn about all the things we just talked about. The Annex Wealth Management Show, and wherever you get your podcasts, it's a great listen. Click the now famous Get Started button at AnnexWealth.com. Get a plan, get the answers. AnnexWealth.com. Know the difference with Annex Wealth Management.
Since 1956, the Adair name has stood for craftsmanship, honesty, and taking care of people the right way. I'm Austin Adair.
And I'm Chelsea.
My grandparents started this company with nothing but hard work and pride in every single job. My parents carried that legacy forward, and today, my wife and I are proud to continue it as third generation of Adair Floors and Remodeling. This isn't just a business to us. It is our family name, our reputation, and our promise to you. At Adair Floors and Remodeling, we help homeowners upgrade with confidence. Whether you need luxury vinyl plank, hardwood, carpet, tile, or a full remodel, our team handles everything from design to installation. Quality products, professional crews, clear communication, and results you'll love. That's what 3 generations have built and what we stand behind every single day. Visit Adair Floors and Remodeling today at our large showroom located in Franklin, or give us a call at 414-761-3660 for a free estimate. Adair Floors and Remodeling. 3 generations, 1 standard.
True luxury is the absence of worry. It begins the moment you settle into your seat with Delta Vacations and continues as you step onto the polished teak decks of a Holland America ship. Whether you're chasing the northern lights or the Mediterranean sun, Fox World Travel anticipates every detail so you can simply savor the journey. Stop managing the logistics and start making memories. Call 866-GO-FOX-GO or visit foxworldtravel.com to elevate your travel today.
Staples has hot deals and low prices on everything for your business, like up to $125 off your print order. Ends 4/18. Exclusions apply. Visit staples.com/print for details.
All right, we're back. Melissa Morgan, Executive Director of City Forward Collective, joining us. I think I talked a little bit about this last week when Kristen wasn't here, and maybe we talked about it sometimes these days.
Well, we've definitely talked about the lawsuit.
Yeah.
I think we talked about the Jake Curtis the week that it actually happened.
Yes, that's exactly right. I'm older. My memory sometimes fails.
You got it.
A major lawsuit filed on school funding formula in the state of Wisconsin. Wisconsin PTAs involved, several families, also in the state assembly. Kind of walk us through this.
Yeah, so it sounds like you've had the lawyers in, so good.
Yeah.
I can get off the hook. I am not a lawyer. I don't want to give you my legal take. I'll leave
And
it
you're
to,
not playing one on the radio.
Exactly. I'll leave it to others to sort through the legal merits of this. I did, however, teach civics. And one of the things that we learned is that the power of the purse, or that we taught, that the power of the purse is supposed to sit with the legislative branch and go through the budget process as it's supposed to. So while I am deeply sympathetic, actually, to a lot of the claims that are laid out in the lawsuit, we've talked here about how challenging and how broken our state funding structure is. We've talked about the fact that it was built in 1993. It was supposed to hold down property taxes. It's clearly failing at that. And it was supposed to adequately fund districts, and it's increasingly failing at that too. The challenge I have is twofold. One is the court system the right way to solve what is the right funding level and what's the right funding formula? That's a really heavy lift to ask a court system to figure out.
Is this a distraction from having a real conversation?
I think.
Or is it forcing the conversation?
Maybe some of both, but I would say to the distraction point, like the second piece of it is some of what's in the specific relief they're asking for doesn't directly address some of the choice options that are available to families in Milwaukee. But there's a lot of rhetoric that's tied. If you read the actual whole filing, there's a lot of sort of talking points and the like, and I worry that is a distraction from the conversation we need to have, which is how much should we, what does fully funding truly mean? How much should we be funding our students? And how do we actually build a system in Wisconsin that makes sense?
What has the conversation or reaction been amongst the education folks to this lawsuit? Because obviously there's a diversity of opinion. There's a diversity of how we fix the problems. Everyone can agree that there are problems. But what has been at least offline conversation that you've had as far as reactions of is this or is this not going to get us to where we want to go?
I think it's exactly that, right? At a moment where there's already a lot of uncertainty, right? This is just injecting yet more uncertainty. And I think that's the challenge that schools of all types are facing, right? You hear the superintendent, MPS working through their version of uncertainty. A lot of the conversations that I have with the school leaders I engage with are, maybe a different set of factors, but that same uncertainty. Everyone can agree that this is not the right way to do things. We have been stuck.
What, the lawsuit or where we're at
now, right? We've been stuck in this stalemate for the better part of a decade. There have been blue ribbon commissions and all the like. You can get most people to agree. This is not how you would design a funding system for kids. But the question is this lawsuit going to be the mechanism to get us to a better outcome, or is this just another divisive political fight that pulls us apart again?
Let's baseline it for people. How much does Wisconsin actually spend on school choice programs versus K-12?
It's a great question, right? So as a state, probably about $14 billion, I'm rounding numbers here, in public dollars are spent on education. About half of that is from local property taxes. About half of that comes from the state. Importantly, that $7 billion that the state is spending, depending on the year, it's either the number one or number two spending area in the state budget. Sometimes healthcare pops up above it. But, not an insignificant chunk of change, even in the context of a state budget. When we talk about sort of the all-in spend on private school choice is about $700 million or so. So 5% of the total state spending, state plus local spending, about less than 10% of the total state spending. By comparison, if you wanted to do, say, the special education funding increases, which I'm supportive of, and City Forward Collective has long been supportive of increased investments on special education, but to get to 60% would probably take, on the order of $2 billion, I think is what the fiscal note was on that last time, somewhere in $1.5 to $2 billion range. This is part of the challenge, right? We get stuck in these talking points and we don't actually get to the numbers underneath them. And the reality is the school choice program is a rounding error in the overall state spending around K-12 education. And the issue, we could argue about whether or not the issue is how much we spend. There's clearly a problem in how we allocate the dollars that we spend.
So I feel like you need to say that again. So basically, the gap of what we would need to do to get to 60% of reimbursement rates for special education is more than what we currently spend on voucher in private schools?
Absolutely, yes. And not by a small amount. It is nearly double what we spend on private school choice. It is just, it's the wrong.
It would be.
It would be.
Would
be, right?
Yeah.
It's the wrong thing to go after if what you're trying to do is find a way to more fairly fund our most vulnerable students. We need to do that. But it's, we're not going to do that on the backs of our private school choice program.
Before we let you get out of here, as the session wraps, what is the one thing that the legislators, lawmakers need to get right about education in this state?
I mean, we're deep in the weeds on it, but just to lift back up, like, this funding system is broken. It's broken all the way around. And like, we have, it's been broken for some time, but we are now reaching the breaking point in the conversation about it being broken. We have got to come to the table with a solution that puts our students first, that stops pitting students against students and systems against systems and sectors against sectors, and actually fixes the problem.
Who would need to be at that table?
I think it's got to be the governor. It's got to be legislators. We're going to be a purple state for the foreseeable future. We got it on both sides. There's going to need to be some real compromise here, which has been challenging to get done.
And if we're serious about this, that's one of the reasons you're sitting here, and that's why we bring you on the show, because you know what you're talking about, and you're illuminating these issues that they get talked about and are talked over, and I think that's why you're here. Colestin Morgan, Executive Director of City Forward Collective, thanks for sharing your wisdom, man. I always enjoy your visits because you're right on it.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for continuing to lift up education. It's an important issue for our kids and our state.
Absolutely. Take a quick break. Wrap the show already. It went so fast.
So fast.
Where did that time go? Good to have you back, by the way. Kristen, Steve, point taken.
Our children deserve a real chance to make it in life, and a good education is a passport to opportunity. At City Forward Collective, we're working to make sure there's a great Milwaukee school for every Milwaukee family, because more good options lead to better outcomes. And who doesn't want that? Together, we can give every child the foundation they need to thrive, and a stronger future for kids means a stronger future for Milwaukee. To learn more about our mission, visit us at cityforwardcollective.org. That's cityforwardcollective.org.
It's here. It's St. Patrick's Day. Celebrate at the Omine Chef restaurant in Hartford, the area's most affordable St. Patrick's Day dining destination. WTMJ's John Mercure here. It's also the most fun spot. The Mine Chef is open this morning at 10:30 with cold green beer and the fabulous corned beef and cabbage plate for just $9.99. You may not be able to finish it. It's so big and delicious. Desserts are buy one, get one free. Cocktails, beer, and appetizers are half price from 2 till 5 today at the bar only. Half price even on St. Patrick's Day. Stop at the Mine Chef today after the Town of Erin St. Patrick's Day parade for a cold green beer and the fabulous corned beef and cabbage. Everyone's Irish on St. Paddy's Day. I urge you to visit the Omine Chef today and enjoy the corned beef and cabbage plate for just $9.99. The Mine Shaft in beautiful downtown Hartford and in Oshkosh near EAA. Walk on in today with plenty of seating and close parking. Open at 10:30. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
I'm not against shopping online. In fact, you can check out our huge selection at BurkhartSportingGoods.com. But when you're ready to buy, Burkhart should be your only stop. Because here, you can grab hold of the Midwest's largest selection of baseball bats, gloves, and equipment, and take all the swings you need in our indoor batting cages to make sure you buy the right bat. And when you buy your new mitt, we'll steam and custom fit it for you right on the spot. This is Brian Burkhart, and when you love baseball and softball like we do, you can't beat Burkhart. If you're in charge of uniforms and equipment, you want to get the most value for your team's budget. You want the most for your money, and you want the process to be easy. Because you already have enough on your plate. We get it. Burkhart Sporting Goods Team Outfitting Division is the best you'll find. With an abnormally high customer satisfaction rate and our own silk screening and embroidery facility for quality control. So if you want the highest quality team outfitting and incredible service, you can't beat Burkhart.
Potential is like God's love. It lives within everyone and shows us that we are made for more. At Aug Prep, faith ignites excellence in academics, the arts, athletics, and every aspect of our lives. Students don't just realize their full potential, we learn to soar. The #1 K-12 school in Milwaukee is expanding to the North Shore and is now enrolling grades K4 through 6th and 9th. Aug Prep North, made for more. Apply today at augprep.org.
Keep the comfort in and the weather out with beautiful new windows and doors from Siding Unlimited. For ideas, go to our Siding Unlimited Instagram page. For a free estimate and honest price guarantee, go to sidingunlimited.com.
WTMJ, W277CV, and WKTI HD2 Milwaukee. From the Annex Wealth Management Studios, this is News Radio WTMJ, a Good Karma brand station.
All right, well, because I wasn't here yesterday, we didn't get to talk about the
Wait, you weren't here yesterday?
We didn't get to talk about the silent auction. Did you win anything? Did you get the carnivore thing?
I didn't. The what thing?
The carnivore.
No, I didn't get that.
What'd you end up winning?
The pizza thing.
Oh, you got a new pizza oven.
Yeah.
Good for you.
It's going to my brother.
Oh, there you go. Good
Exactly.
gift. Does he know that, or did you just break the news?
He knows. He was working with us on that one.
Got it. Okay. Well, yes. On Friday, the silent auction for Milwaukee Diaper Mission Bowling for Babies closed, and we finally have the number between the actual event Bowling for Babies, the raffle we did there, the silent auction. We ended up raising $11,695 for the Milwaukee Diaper Mission.
Awesome effort. I said it on Friday. Just the work that you did in all the midst of all the other things you do. Awesome work. We also got to give Thanalysis some love as well.
Yes, the Analysis Live is back March 27th at the Riverside Theater this time. It's loud and completely unpredictable. There's no telling who will come up on stage. Thanasis always brings out the stars. Stephen A. Smith, Bobby Portis, the Lopez brothers, and of course, Giannis. Giannis came last year. They didn't even know if he was going to come because his fourth child had just been born. I took my dad last year for his birthday. It was so much fun.
I might even go.
So this year, the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, is headlining with Thanasis. And if history tells us anything, he won't be alone. So more surprise guests, more big names, more big moments that lead you to say, oof, you had to be there. Get your tickets now at taliveshow.com. Thanalysis Live, March 27th at the Riverside Theater. Doors open at 6. Show is at 7. Be there. I'm telling you, it's so fun.
It's a blast, and I'm going to try as hard as I can to be there as well. Last thing, text word EXTRA, EXTRA, 855-616-1620 to win. Try to win a 4-pack of tickets to the Brewers game in April. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Welcome to The Knowledge Brokers, our weekly feature